Aguayo-Stewart and the writer-director of Rose in February, Katherine Jerkovic.
This is Arlen.
Hi.
Very gifted actress. This is Sophie. She's the picture editor. And Bruno, he did the sound design.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
Katherine, I'll start off with the first question. Certainly personally for me, one of the things that I identified most was this sort of longing for ancestral connection. And then once you actually go to where you're from, it's sort of, there's a sense of alienation and even rejection from that community. I'm wondering if you can speak to the inspiration for sort of including these themes within your film.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to make a movie about this this feeling of belonging to a place and yet being a foreigner, and try to show that you can turn around that situation, and instead of feeling divided and strange everywhere, you can just maybe realize that it's there's positive things to it, and that I think that for lots of immigrants or children of immigrants, I think that if you don't do that switch, you are always longing and you're always nostalgic, and you entertain this fantasy of a home and a place, a better place, and I don't think that you can really root anywhere or live the present or have a meaningful life if you don't overcome that. There's a grieving, but then you have to overcome that and just accept that as une richesse, something that it's une richesse,
a richness, like
yeah, something that you know that you can that can fructify, that you can do something positive with it.
And Arlen, I'll ask you a question. Such a wonderful performance. I'm wondering if you can talk to us about what drew you to the character, and if there was anything that resonated specifically with you within the character.
Well, along the same lines of what you just asked in terms of having a home somewhere else. Like I definitely have a home in Chile where my dad's family's from, and you can feel like an outsider here, and you can feel like an outsider there. So I definitely connected to that. And I go visit my grandma in Chile all the time. So I'm really happy she's still alive so she could see this. But yeah, going back and everyone having assumptions of who you are, and then holding something different that they never got to really see. And that slowly being revealed is definitely something I connected to in terms of the character. So yeah, I think that kind of drew me to the character.
We'll open it up to the audience, and I will repeat the question. Yes, go ahead.
I think a lot of the film for me was about like waiting and time, like the feeling of how simple things in life can last. I'm sure you guys had so many arguments about how long you can make a scene and try to keep it as long as you want from the directorial standpoint, but also what the audience is going to react to. So when we talk about like what those battles were like, about trying like elongate moments.
So the comment was regarding, yeah, okay, great. Well, repeat for the audience, just about waiting and time, and the length of specific scenes in the film, and talk about the creative decisions behind that.
Yeah, yeah, that really was part of the project from the writing stage. I come from like an experimental background, more like I would say contemplative cinema, and I wanted to write a drama. I wanted this to be a narrative, but I from the beginning I was looking for a good balance between cinematic time. We know that a movie has to last 90 minutes, 2 hours. But we also know that in life, everything takes a lot of time. Grieving, healing, overcoming things, understanding, growing, all these are really long process. So I was trying I was trying to find kind of a balance between a tempo that would reflect a little bit of that, but that would not be like a movie that you fall asleep, And then I had a great editor that I think she did a really good job at maintaining this tension between these two temporalities and the pace of the village and the rural life and yeah.
Quite, yeah, in the front there, go ahead.
Yes.
So the comment was regarding the object of the camera, and once it's taken from her, and sort of that allowing her to feel connected. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, I wouldn't say that she feels connected because of that. I think it's a long process, but yeah. Exactly. Yeah, well, it's the idea of loss also, because losing is finding in a way, So when she loses this camera, she doesn't have any material memory, but she has to accept things inside herself, and so it's like it's not like a metaphor, because in life these things happen, events that they force you to move on and
Oh, we have a question. Yes, go ahead.
Thank you. That was beautiful. I was wondering if you could talk about the casting process and how you found Arlen and Gloria. And I know Arlen is based in Toronto, but I'm not sure where Gloria is based. And did you do casting in Uruguay, or was it primarily here? How did that process start?
Can you talk about casting Arlen and Gloria?
yeah. So Arlen was a miracle because it was a very specific character. I needed someone who is fluent in Spanish, but who also has enough, cultural imprint of Montreal and Quebec, so that she would be credible, as in this kind of configuration. And it's an early 20s character, and this is not really the generation that, it's more like my generation, and I'm not in early 20s anymore. So it was difficult, because most of the actors with this kind of profile are more like in their 30s, 40s. But, there's a little bit of coming of age kind of thing to the movie, and, coming of age in the past 20s is kind of a little bit pathetic, so it really had to feel young. The character really had to feel young, and I didn't have. It was hard, but then I found Arlen, and we casted in Montreal. At the time, Arlen was living in Montreal. The casting of Arlen was 4 years ago, because it was a long time to find the partners in Uruguay, find the fundings and everything. So it was.
You told me not to age when we.
Yeah, I told her don't stop age because we won't shoot before 2-3 years, and so that was great. I was very happy, and I think she did a great job, and it was really nice and easy to work with her. She's a very reassuring, calm person, and all the rest of the cast is Uruguayan. It was actors and actresses from Uruguay. So I had my first AD was my first assistant director was Uruguayan AD, and he did the first based on the characters and kind of descriptions I gave. He proposed me different actors and the first casting he did it with our Uruguayan producer, and then I received the videos, and so I did like pre-selection based on the videos, and then I traveled with Arlen and we did callbacks for all the best, more promising. So it was good for her because she got to know Uruguay, and I could test the connection between her and the grandma, her and Tincho, and all this. And yeah, I must say, I was amazed of the quality of the actors that I found in Uruguay. Uruguay is like a 3 million inhabitant country. Like, it's really small, and half of it lives outside the capital. And so I was impressed. Like, really, really good actors, and like a very vibrant theater scene with like no money, but just like very, taking risks and doing different things.
And has Gloria seen the film yet?
I don't think so. No, she hasn't. No, I don't think. Yeah, Gloria, she's great. Gloria, actually, she's a very interesting actress. She hadn't. It's her first like important role in a movie. She did theater, like 45 years of theater, all kind, like independent, classic, everything. She's great. She's very known in Uruguay. People like her a lot, and she's very special because every take she does is different. So if you like it, you better have it, because she's not gonna do it again. Like, every time. So it was strange, because I really like this because she's so alive that she's always. Yeah, she's very creative all the time, but also this idea that it's a little bit unpredictable. but this is what I liked about her, so that's why I cast her.
Yes, in the middle. Go ahead.
I just wanted to say that I loved your character development. Your girlfriend who didn't have the time to really stay, and she wasn't really introduced, so I felt that pain. And again, of course, the camera that lost. I have a camera lost, and I would say, all I want is to turn to do this, and I felt that. And when grandmother is having her foot massage, all those things were really well developed, and it really got to my heart. So
Oh, I'm happy. I'm very happy. It's the best thing that I can hear. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yes, go ahead.
I'm the daughter of immigrants, South America and Portugal. And I really identified with the character. I felt like I was, so it was really well done. Even the grandmother relationship and the rural environment was really well done.
Thank you. Do you have questions for these two very
Yes.
talented people here?
Yeah, go ahead.
El 20 veo. Did you recognize that bird?
Can you speak to the sound design of the film? I mean, you built the tension very nicely, and I'm wondering if you can talk about your motivation there.
Well, for sound, first of all, we always, as sound editor, you always have to be really conscious about the nature when you have to do sound for another country, for instance. I've never been in Uruguay, but I tried to do a lot of research, and the sound recordist over there, he did a really great job. And you always have those books about ornithology, just to, okay, who are the birds in that region, animals and stuff like that. So to help to relieve, to be able to be in the same place. So I'm really glad that you felt that the place is right, exactly. It's always like, well, for me, it's like painting in a way. Like you always put like nature stuff, wind. It's like the background, and after you have all those little elements to play with, and to sometimes just like little touch, like brushes, place like that. So well, that's my way of looking at it. And with Katherine, with the script, she already had precise ideas of like playing with the chimes. So at the end, we understand how the chimes are coming from. So at the beginning, it's like just like a little indice, I would say that, like clues, exactly, little clues like that, and just to build like, like having some sound to represent memories, and just to understand that we're going in times a little bit like that. So that's how we approach it.
We have time for a couple of more questions. Yes, the very back. Go ahead.
I have a question about the art direction in the film. So I noticed that a lot of the scenes, it was shot kind of like a photo album of Sarah's trip to Uruguay. A lot of the scenes didn't have any dialogue, but it moved the story along, kind of like you would looking through a photo album. I'm just wondering if that was a decision made before the movie was made, or did that come about organically as well?
So the patron commented that some of the shot compositions felt like he was looking through a photo album, and wondering if you can talk about the art direction and the compositions in the film.
Well, to be honest, I didn't think of that in that way. This movie was shot in we didn't have a lot of time because we didn't have a lot of budget, and so I think I made mise en scène choices, framings, and that I was trying to say a lot of things with every shot. I was trying that because I couldn't shoot that much and I couldn't afford having like a scene. Some scenes you have many shots, but many scenes are one shot, two shots. So I was really trying to have a full image that's all meaningful. So yeah, composition was important, but the art direction, yeah, it's interesting. It was interesting because I brought my art director from Montreal, but he worked very closely with an art director from Uruguay, who has another credit, like chef déco. I don't know how it is, like a props, not props, but just below the art director. Yeah, set decorator, exactly. And they worked together, so it was interesting because it's a mix of this Montrealer who's like very, kind of design, very like everything is clean and beautiful, and then the Uruguayan art director was really working with textures and like, so it was like a nice match. But no, I didn't really conceive them as photos, but more like full images. Really.
Time for one last question. We'll go to the front here.
Yeah, I have a question on the sound. Where I was most connected or noticed the sound was near the end when Arlen's riding the bicycle down the dirt road there, and I just heard the tire on the dirt there and the stones going along. How did you do that? Because obviously it was filmed in a vehicle that was louder than the bicycle.
Yeah, of course.
Everybody heard that?
Well, that's the magic of Foley. The Foley artist on this is her name is Eliza Whitlock, and she's very well known in Montreal and all over the world actually. And